Hey, thanks for watching The Truth with Andrew Washington and Frank Carrera. Before I get started, I have to send out my prayers, my wishes to our boy Frank Carrera. He's got some personal issues that he's taking care of. If he wants to disclose what that is, that's totally up to him. But I'm just going to keep it out. He's got personal issues that he's taking care of with his family, and I hope everything works out for the best. I miss you, love you, can't wait to have you back here. We got NoFo Tick and Mosquito Control. Thanks to my man Peter Lupo and his Tick and Mosquito Control Company. They are behind us here at The Truth with Andrew Washington and Frank Carrera. Give them a call. Tell them that The Truth sent you. They'll be happy to hear from you. And this week, I have to tell you, was one of the busiest weeks that I've had so far. Uh, it was pretty wild. I enjoyed it. If this is what my future holds, I am so ready for it and so looking forward to it. But my God, is it draining? So Wednesday night, I was at Misfits in Ridge. I was there for a magic show, but I brought some comedians along with me, and I did something different. I called my buddy. I can call him my buddy now. I met him out at the clubhouse. We become buddies. He's got a 9-year-old son named Grayson. I called him a couple of days before. I said, hey, I'm doing this show. I got some professional comedians, and I want to give Grayson a shot. I think he was a little more nervous at the beginning than his son, but they said yes. They worked on the material, and they came out to Misfits, and this kid absolutely killed it. At 9 years old, he had the poise of some of these professionals, his delivery, his timing. He waited for the applause to end before he threw his next kicker in there. He referred back to his jokes several times to different things and tied them all in. Like, I was like listening, I was like, what, are you kidding me? This kid is 9 years old. And then I watched the video back afterwards, and he did it multiple times. I didn't catch it at the beginning because I was getting ready for my show, but he's absolutely a future star. Grayson Yurkowicz, if you have not ever heard of him, I promise you, you will hear of him. I was also there with Bruce Lipsky and Steven Calba. These guys, they had a lot to live up to after Grayson opened up. I was so glad I was going like 45 minutes later because I did not want to go on after that kid. And I can tell you, and that's what our goal is. We want the guy behind us to be like, wow, it makes you step your game up. And he definitely made us step our games up that night. So then we go to Thursday night. Shift gears. I'm in East Islip. We're at the Shortstop Inn. I had Art Schill there, Keith Fitz, Arnie Price, again, Bruce Lipsky. And for some reason, I went into a complete different zone, different mode. Everyone came around me, and I did not care. I was doing not street magic, but it looked like I was doing street magic by the time I was done. That's how close these people were, and it didn't matter because I was confident in my abilities that I could still do what I had to do and give them a great show. I had people coming from elementary school, which was absolutely insane. I couldn't believe that. I had old friends coming down. It was like being back home with some of these people. It just made me comfortable and relaxed, and I was in a zone. So I can't say I took a break. I went back to work. I went to my regular job back out in East Hampton. And then, today I'm working for myself. And what I got coming up next is Wednesday night. I'm in Staten Island, Staten Island Comedy Show. This is a televised show. It's going to be televised on their public access in the 5 boroughs, but you can catch this on YouTube. And then Friday night, I'm in Jamaica, Queens, the Performing Arts Center in Jamaica, Queens. We're doing our encore for the film premiere that we did. It was the Martin Luther King Film Festival, but we held it in April. So we're going to have an encore event. We're going to meet some of the winners. I'm going to do more interviews. I got to interview so many people, and I just can't wait to get back. not only did I do some interviews, I was able to do some magic, and I am still getting phone calls up to just 2 days ago about the show that I put on there. Unfortunately, it was almost like a late night show, but for those who stayed to watch, they damn sure got a treat. And because of this tour with Kings of Comedy, ooh, look at me jumping way ahead. Because of this tour with the Den of Comedy, I've had to work on some more of my tricks, change up routines, have multiple routines. I may be doing the show at 11 o'clock in the morning and then 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm not going to do the same thing. So I want to make sure I give people a variety, so I have a lot to work on and a little bit of time to do it, because right after Friday comes Saturday, and I'm in Clifton, New Jersey for NAX Wrestling. We have an amazing lineup for you guys. We're doing a dinner. We're doing comedy. There's another magician, so we're going to have a little battle. I told them not to do it because this guy wants to end his career that soon, but I have stuff that I could do with one hand behind my back will put this guy to shame. And that's what I'm going to do. You guys know I don't back down. You want to challenge me, be ready. Not the best idea, but it wasn't my idea. Someone else came up with this idea, and I said, let's go with it. So that's what we're going to do. May 21st, Clifton, New Jersey. I can't wait to see you guys there. That's the introduction of Snoop Dogg Washington as I become the millennium version of, what's his name? I just drew a blank. Mean Gene Okerlund. So that's that. And then we move on. We have some things coming up. I told you, I stay busy. So after the 21st, we have May 28th, the Patchogue 40 Thieves fundraiser at Fireman's Park. These guys I got that back there behind me, I know they're flipping out right now because I'm mentioning Patchogue 40 Thieves, but they got a clam and lobster bake that they're having to support their racing season, which starts very soon. The first Saturday in June, Lindenhurst is when we start out. I was able to stop down at practice for Patchogue, and I got to see them run a little 3-man ladder. I told them that the ground speed, you got to pick it up, man. You got to pick up that ground speed. And then they were getting their trucks going. The truck couldn't stop, so they were working on that. I got some video. Bobby's going to show you that.
All right, Patchogue, here we go. Everybody's feet on the line. Set the clock. Make the clock set. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Banana.
So one of the things you don't want while you're running 3-man ladder is you do not want to reach up and grab your sunglasses. That slows you down just a little bit. And the reason I didn't show you more of that first run, because that's about as far as it went. They crunched each other at the bottom of the ladder. But hey, these guys are out there having fun. I was having fun. I was glad they welcomed me out. I told them I'm going to try to get that out there again because due to time I had to run. They're working on the truck. Speaking of the truck, let's show you them getting that truck ready for Lindenhurst. Here I am at Fireman's Park in Ridge with Captain of the Patchogue 40 Thieves, Tim Bugatti. And I've been talking a lot about the clam and lobster bake they have coming up May 28th at Fireman's Park in Patchogue. But now I have the opportunity to speak with the captain of the racing team as we're approaching Lindenhurst, the first Saturday in June.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about this clam bake.
It's the team's main fundraiser. We started it last year. Trying to think of something different to raise some money. And because the team is pretty much self-funded. So, and it was pretty much a success, although last Memorial Day weekend was cold and rainy. It really wasn't summer weather, but it worked out very well for us. In the end, we did very well. So this is the second year we're bringing it back. It's going to be outside down at the Fireman's Park. Last year, like I said, with the rain, we had to have it inside. But this year we're outside back at Fireman's Park, and we're hoping to have another successful weekend.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. It's a little bit different for this year. I'm going to be there.
Oh, there you go.
My co-host of my show, Frank Herrera, is going to be there as well.
Oh, great.
And I'm going to actually do some magic for the people that come.
That's a part of me they don't know. They know the racing side, they know the talk show side, but I'm also one of Long Island's best magicians, and they're going to get to see a little bit of that.
Oh, wow.
So I know tickets are $40. They'd like you to get them in advance because, you know, it is seafood, and you know the price of seafood. We want to make sure we have the right amount of food for everybody. So how are your pre-sales going?
Right now, the pre-sales are going well. We're about where we were last year's mark. So, and everybody kind of waits until the end, but we prefer they don't. Like you said, we have to pre-order the seafood, so to make sure that everybody has food that day, we'd like get people to get their tickets as soon as possible.
There you heard it from the captain of the Patchogue 40 Thieves. Get your tickets ahead of schedule. Make their life a little bit easier, because I know once the racing season starts, I might not be so much shoulder to shoulder with these guys, but it's going to be a good event. I'm going to be there. Like I said, Frank's going to be there. We want all you fans to come out, support the Patchogue 40 Thieves. It's a fundraiser. This is not a cheap sport. With the insurance, the tires, the fuel. You think your fuel in your car costs a lot? I wonder how much their fuel costs. Make sure you watch my show, Monday nights, 9 p.m., The Truth, with Andrew Washington and Frank Carrera.
So apparently I forgot to load part of the video. Oops. It's with just Patchogue. They're testing their truck out, their B truck. Had a little issue, still pulling to the right. Not many noticed that right away, but they're like, how do you see that? I've been around some of the best since I've been growing up, so I've been able to see that. So here, don't forget we have the clam bake. It's coming up May 28th, Fireman's Park and Patchogue. If you can, pre-order your tickets so you can help them out. But if not, just make sure you come down and have a great time. And you're going to see a little magic too. Why not? We're going to celebrate just as we get ready for Lindenhurst, and that's when we're not friends anymore. I already told them. They know where my alliance lies. No matter who's on my show, it's Central Islip Hobos all the way. Speaking of Central Islip Hobos, I'm going to get ready to take a commercial break. When I come back, I'm coming back with some of the legends in racing for the Central Islip Fire Department. We're going to take a commercial break. We're going to show you this video clip, and then we'll be back right after this.
Honey, it's such a beautiful night. Let's eat outside.
Okay, hon, sounds great. Ugh. These bugs are out of control.
Oh no, honey, look, Luna has a tick.
We gotta do something about these bugs. It's ridiculous.
Don't let mosquitoes and ticks ruin another summer. Call NOFO Tick and Mosquito Control. 631-888-NOFO. That's 631-888-NOFO. Or visit NOFOTickControl.com. That's NOFOTickControl.com.
So I told you we're coming back with some legends in racing in Central Islip, not only in Central Islip, but in New York State Fire Department racing. I have Kevin Jackson on my left and Tim Crawford on the right. One of the main reasons that I brought them here is not to just talk about racing, which we are definitely going to do, but we're going to talk about how I got the name Truth. It started with you two guys.
Yes.
I wasn't sure. You definitely were totally in the mix. Timmy was there. I wasn't sure who it started, but if I'm putting it all together, I think, Timmy, you're the first one to throw it out there as a reference to Call of Truth Washington, and Kevin co-signed it, and that just made it official, or vice versa?
I'm butting out. That was Kevin.
Yeah, it was. If I remember correctly, it was Friday night down at the Shack.
These guys remember every date.
And it was the night before the tournament. We were loading up the trucks, and we wanted to get some pizza. And what was that pizzeria in King Kong? Was it Francisca's?
Yes.
Francisca's.
Yeah.
Well, you went over, and we gave you some money. You brought back a couple of pies. We were questioning, saying, "Where's the change?" And he said, "Oh, there is no change." We were like, we started breaking the chops. And he said, "I always tell the truth." We're like, okay, right, we're joking around. And then all of a sudden, that night was Friday Night Fights on CBS. We're down after we load the trucks up, we're eating the pizza, and we were watching the fights on TV. And the guy says that one of the main card is Carl Williams. Then all of a sudden, Carl Williams comes out, and next thing you know, they start introducing. It says, "Carl the Truth Williams." And I looked at him and I pointed at him and said, "That's the truth right there."
And that was it.
It's been a staple for the last X amount of years, and even this past tournament at CI this past year, it wasn't like that. People think they're booing them. It's true, truth.
It's truth, folks.
That's what it is. It's not Andrew. It's the truth. It's
1985. Half the people in Central Heights of 5 don't know my name.
Yeah, no, it's the truth. That's what it is. You know?
They don't know my name. And this is where it started. Timmy was a flipper. Kevin was a spiker. We had Willie McCarthy, is like the absolute god of racing.
Yeah, he's the ultimate hobo.
And then we had Henry Frank driving, who, till this day, I still say, is the best driver that I've seen.
He ranks up there, that's for sure.
I know there are others, Harry Penny, Bay Shore.
He ranks right up there.
I don't want to take anything from them, but there is a little bias because I was only on the back of the truck with Henry. And people say, "Why don't you join the fire department? Why don't you race again?" There's a two-part question. I won't join the fire department again because I don't trust the people like I trusted you guys when I joined the fire department. I grew up with you. I knew you guys had my back.
I got you on that, yeah.
So it was totally different being around you guys. I did anything. And as far as racing, if I'm going to join a team, I want to win. Not everybody's out there prepared to win.
Yeah.
And there's the back to the driving. I don't trust anybody like that.
Well, to be honest with you, he was the only guy I ever got off, and Timmy got off of. And to show you how good he was in April of, I think it was 85 or 84. Remember the throttle stuck, Timmy, on the C truck?
On a beat truck.
Yeah, on the C truck, it stuck.
Rob
will tell you this. Rob Frank. We were running last night. I usually wear like a jacket for spiking, and I left it home.
Like silver.
Yeah,
that silver one. Yeah, I remember that.
So Robert said, "Hey, take my jacket," and it was like bright red, like that color over there, jacket, windbreaker. And I said, "All right, I'll wear it for Sea Ladder." And we came down Sea Ladder, and when Henry hit the brakes, you saw something snap, and all of a sudden, the truck didn't slow down. Everything with the arch was a blur, and we went screeching underneath the arch, and Henry was trying to stop the C truck, and we stopped about maybe 75, 100 feet before Wheeler Road.
For those who don't know, centralized subtract, when you go through the arch, you do not have much space before you're in the main road.
Feet,
There's
maybe?
no buffer.
It's not like Pat Show where we had the hay bales down there.
Yeah,
no, you go straight into the street. And if you missed the car, you had a tree directly across the street in somebody's front yard.
Yeah, exactly.
So just to lay out what he's talking about. Go ahead, Kevin.
And we stopped about 75 feet before Wheeler Road, and we were all shaken up, and Henry gets out. The first thing he says is, "I didn't pull a moon on you." And what he meant by that was, the week earlier, Willie Moon from Islip Terrace, they were practicing over at the town track. The throttle stuck on them, and Willie couldn't stop the truck in time, and some guys got hurt and stuff like that. And Willie did a great job doing what he did to avoid a major catastrophe, but guys still got hurt. But that was the first thing Henry says, "I didn't pull the moon, we stopped it." And we were all shaken up and everything, and it was a Thursday night. We all said, "We can't wait till Monday to start this again." So we said, "Let's do one more time." So we
pop it into reverse for that?
Yeah, he threw it into reverse, and we ran C Ladder.
You got to do he knew it.
We completed the run, but then we went to run C-hose, and the engine seized. And that was because we had to shove it into reverse and stuff.
Well, one of the times I remember speaking about the C truck is something broke on a run, and you know, just like the tournaments, they back down to get back to, you know, to reload. There was no reverse in the truck, and I watched Henry adjust the brake up down by his foot, rev the gas, and spin that C truck perfect, and head it back and drive it back to the track.
Yeah,
I watched this guy come out of fishtails.
Yeah, he was unique what he did and stuff like that. He in '86. Now this is almost 40 years ago, but
Syracuse. That was my first year.
We had a sea ladder. It was on Highway 22, and people know the highways. They have like a little bevel in the road, and we ran number 17 that day. And
6.
Was it 6? I thought it was 17.
Sorry.
Oh, was it 6?
It was 6.
It was
Yeah.
6?
I can't.
All I
keep up
know
with
is
these
that
guys.
teams, the first teams, they flew by underneath the arch. They weren't stopping. And Henry turned around and says, it's not going to stop because we're on a federal highway. It's not made for it. So Henry says, I'll tell you what we're going to do. He says, we're going to line up a little bit over to the right. And he says, I'm going to bring the truck down. And when it comes down, for people who know racing, when we hit the brake at the cone, the truck's going to slide over. And we're going to come right into the patch. So we're all like, okay, Henry. So Timmy and I are on the right side. So you get on the right side of the truck and now you got a crown in the road. You're like, holy crap, man, we're really far over. We were about 8 feet over, not a couple of feet. So we took off and Henry just guided the truck down. And when he hit the brakes, the truck just slid right in. And we perfect spot right on the 3-man ladder line. Dropped us right there, and
Right where he said he was going.
he said he was going to drop us over. It was amazing. He said, I'm going to drop us in the three. I said, we're going to slide just right in. And he did it, and the crowd went crazy because he was the first guy to stop it, and we ended up winning Sea Ladder that day because of that. And it was all because of what he did, because if he stayed on the middle of the crown of the road, we would have done what everybody else did, was veer to the left. Well, he said, we're going to start a little bit over to the right, and we're going to veer in, and it was perfect, and we got 5 points out of it.
That's one thing I noticed about Henry. It was not just Henry, but the approach of the whole Hobos team back then. It was a win mentality. Everyone had their job. Everybody knew their job.
Yep.
We had none of this bickering and anything that goes on. And it's part of where I learned how to be a champion. Everything I've done after you guys, I've succeeded and I've won championships. And it's part of how you learn how to work together with people and do that. And Central Islip is a great leader, and I've learned so much from them. And just staying on Henry, it's I watched him stand at the fence. You know, you guys might have been. I was a gopher. I was 12, 13, 14. I was a gopher until I was able to get into the fire department for them. And I got to watch Henry, and he would watch, like you're saying, the breaking points, what the trucks did. Sometimes he'd come back when he came back with a smile on the face, that was bad.
Yeah, he knew something was up.
Yeah, that was bad. I can remember hearing him say, I think we're going to go for it.
Yeah.
You know?
He had a feeling for it. You know, like I said, you know, when he knew the tracks, like, you know, he knew like Lindenhurst was slick in the early of the year. You know, like it was slick in June, but it's not so slick in August. And we had, you know, if they hosted the South Shore Tour, which they did a couple of years, Lindenhurst. So we raced back there in August. So the track's completely different. Henry was prepared for that. I mean, even going upstate, he knew what had to be done, had to be managed. And even drivers say, like my brother Danny, he drives now. He monitors what Henry used to do and stuff like that. And him and Henry, they converse and they talk to each other about, you know, this and that, what they should be doing. And like last year, Henry said to Danny at the tournament in Sea Ladder, which I won that day, Henry says, I know you broke a little late this time, but you hit it harder. He goes, yeah, you noticed that. He goes, yeah, he says, it was a warm day. I figured I'd take a little extra, you know, an extra step and the truck would stop. And sure enough, it did. But that's one good driver talking to another good driver, you know what I'm saying? And when you talk about the Hobos and the championships and everything, Timmy can tell you this too. You're taught a certain way. When you're on the juniors, you learn to appreciate racing and the aspect of what racing's about and stuff like that from a standpoint as a young kid. But when you get up to the big team, you just said you got to learn it the Hobo way. It's the way of doing it. This is the way we do it. Well, we didn't know. That's okay. You did it back then, but this is the way we do it now, and this is how you do it. And when you look on the side of the track at the pump house where all the state championships there, all the total point championships there, you got to realize there's a rhyme and reason to this madness, and that's the reason why they do it. And even to this day, it's still the same mantra. Perfect example. I saw Robbie Miller about 4 years ago. His stepbrother Eric Miller came on the team, and I said, "Man, Eric's looking really good. He looks really good. He's an athlete. You can tell he's gonna be a good racing man." He goes, "Yeah, but he says there's one thing he has to learn." I go, "What's that?" He says, "The hobo way." And I started smiling. I said, it's good to hear that even after 35 years you've gone from racing, you still hear that. It's got to be the hobo way. And that's the reason why there's 11 championships. And if you want to take would have, could have, should have, we should have 16 to 17 easily.
I can go. The first one that you guys I know of that you should have had was in Syracuse in 1986.
Yeah, 80. It was I can go back to when I was a young kid watching 72. They had a chance. They messed up in buckets. They won buckets all year. In the state tournament, they missed. They munched. It was really a bad time, and they had a chance to win it. 75, they came in second, but they lost by 1/100th of a second.
These guys are not plugged into a computer, by the way.
No, it's in the dictionary.
They are not
the only thing we remember.
Not plugged in.
Going back
This
years.
could get a lot worse if Jimmy Miller was here. If
Yeah, a lot
Bob
of
Miller
people
was here. These guys, not Ducky Miller, if he was here. These guys don't just remember, it was a Thursday. They remember the temperature. They remember the time of the day. They remember how many drops fell from the trees. They remember everything. There was 76 people standing on the railing. This guy was in front of me.
It's what we cared about. I mean, we really.
I care too. I don't remember that much.
I mean, but it's something we love. We love to do it. And getting back to what you said about the culture and everything. I mean, we had John Fagan McCarthy there, imparting his wisdom upon us. We had Willie, to teach us the way. This is how we run these contests. Efficiency was always the hobo's bread and butter contest. I've always looked at efficiency as bread and butter. And it wasn't even necessarily to have. You would love to have the best athletes or the fastest guys to run that contest.
Heck, I run that
always
contest.
it's a timing contest. It's
Yeah,
more of a
exact
timing
timing.
contest.
To go to your point, Tim, your efficiency team at one point, you had your first man was your nozzle man, and your third man, the fastest guy on the team, was his backup. So,
and then what
That
we did
shouldn't
was
even be that way, but
what
that's
we did was
right.
we changed it around after that. What we did was we said, okay, instead of having a backup man be the fastest guy, we're going to put him at the first couple.
That's right.
And then we're going to put
That's where it
between the
belongs.
first and
Chucky,
second
that's where he
couple,
belongs.
we're going to put the guys like David Schreier back then, the guys that were like jackrabbits that could just fly like you wouldn't believe how fast these guys were, and they always get the hose out before the water gets to it, and that's the whole key
That's
to
the
the
key to it.
contest.
Let's not-
But it's easy for
Don't say much of that.
But you know what?
We're copy, it could
No,
be
but we
copyright.
can say that.
That's
but
a joke.
You can
folks.
say that though, but people, they know what it is, but they still don't do it. You know what I'm saying? That's
I mean,
the thing.
Kevin was next to a hydrant or whatever, and it was always the start. Now, Kevin will be the first one to tell you he was not the fastest guy going.
no way.
But it was the start, and we go back to Henry. Henry got us on the timing, and people would hear Henry get us all jacked up or whatever.
Okay,
get
let's
ready to
go.
Okay,
Pick it up.
what do you say? Let's go, pick it up.
know,
And then that was it. And people would suddenly like you were starting one of the engines on a B truck or something. That guy that does that yelling for the central ice slip or whatever, and he would get us jacked up.
Yeah.
And it was a timing thing. We knew when to leave.
It was great. Let's go pick it up. Couplingman, feet on the line.
Yeah.
Willie set the clock.
They're on, Hank. Okay, here we
go.
go. Bob.
Hank,
It was the
Bob,
Bobby.
Bob.
Yeah, you go down the
And
line,
get down,
call everybody's name.
When it got to the point when he called my name, I knew I had to take
You had to
off
go.
because I'm
You
the
had to
fastest
step
guy.
into the
I
makeup,
had to make the step to make up and be ahead of where, say, Mike Doyle was or even Danny was when they were running hydrant and stuff like that. So it was all about timing. Now today, these kids they got on the team today, these kids are track stars. I'm telling you, they got this one kid, young fella, Malcolm. Danny calls him Malcolm in the middle because he runs in the middle. And the kid, he's so far ahead of everybody. It's like, holy crap, look at this kid run.
Yeah.
And then now, from what they're telling me, they got 3 other kids that came up from the pipeline of the juniors. They got them running efficiency now. So efficiency is going to be around for a long time. Because you got guys that can run it. We know how to run it, and they're taught it. You got to realize these kids are in the juniors and they're being taught how to do it. Then they get to the big team. Okay, we're going to tweak it a little bit. We're going to do it this way, and boom. It's like they don't miss a beat, like the Eric Millers and them and stuff like that. Even the other Miller kid, Liam Miller, he does efficiency.
Hold that thought, Kevin. We're going to take a commercial break, and we're going to come back with plenty more of racing and talking with some of my buddies, legends of the Central Islip Hobos, Kevin and Timmy. We'll be back right after this.
Honey, it's such a beautiful night. Let's eat outside.
Okay, hon, sounds great. Ugh. These bugs are out of control.
Oh no, honey, look, Luna has a tick.
We gotta do something about these bugs. It's ridiculous.
Don't let mosquitoes and ticks ruin another summer. Call NoFo Tick and Mosquito Control. 631-888-NOFO. That's 631-888-NOFO. Or visit NoFoTickControl.com. That's NoFoTickControl.com.
The Suki and Scott Show.
This is one of the funnest shows I've ever done.
Lady, when you're with me, I'm smiling.
It's musical. It's magical.
This is a sexy show. Someone's getting some action.
Now, these larger-than-life personalities are on an exciting new journey. The Suki and Scott Show is your one-stop destination for humor.
You like De Niro and Cape Fear. Counselor!
Entertainment.
Jesse's girl.
Wonderful.
Can you paint with all the colors of the wind?
And optimism.
You guys have such amazing energy.
Let's laugh together.
I love him.
The Suki and Scott Show.
And we're back with Kevin and Tim. So we were talking a little bit about some of the ground events, and it looks like Central Islip has, I wouldn't say a lock on, but pretty much a good grasp on the ground events.
They're taught it from when they first come on the juniors. The first thing they do is they show the kids how to climb a ladder, and they say, okay, see how they say, okay, you go there,
Speaking
you
of
can't
climbing a ladder,
Next thing you know, you go over here, he can climb ladders.
Phil Falco's son.
I heard he's knocking.
I was
it out.
there
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, and he said I said, what?
Yeah.
He just started climbing the ladder, and he's
I
tall
heard
too.
I heard they got a B team 3-man team. They're running like 6'4s.
Listen.
What?
Yeah.
Malcolm is the third man. Falco,
Yeah.
the kid's Falco. And the other
So-
kid.
That's fantastic.
So not to leave some like I talked about the beginning of some of the greats in the sport, and I cannot leave out Chucky Doyle. Chucky Doyle used to battle with A-Rock, who's from North Lindenhurst. There was a couple of guys. There was Pi was over there for a little while from Lindenhurst, but these guys were epic ladder climbers. It's not kind of like what you see today, where you see a lot of guys, pausing until the ladder hits. These guys would climb anything. And I think I came in at one of the worst times that I could have come in, wanting to be a ladder climber. One of the things that I have the ability to say, not many can, is I beat Mikey Mara in the state tournament last year in the juniors in 1988. Nobody's done that.
Yeah.
Nobody beat Mikey Mara individual on the ladder. But guess what? I did it. And then what? I come to the hobos and I have Chucky Doyle in front of me. To give you an example of what it's like having Chucky Doyle in front of you, just picture the guy that was behind Cal Ripken Jr. How'd that work out for him? I did see him play at the stadium here in Central Islip, but he didn't get a shot for a while.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I had Hop Singh. He was a clown, but he's also talented when he wasn't being a clown. I didn't have a chance. There was no chance in hell.
When that's the plus and the positives and the negatives about having a ladder climber. That you don't get some other guys that come in and between stuff like that. You take a look at West Sable. They have two of the best ladder climbers probably in the history of racing, Warren Horse and Mikey Mara, okay, from the championships and the times and state records and everything, but there's nobody else in between that time period. I mean, you have Billy Zola, who was also a good ladder climber, but I mean, you take a look at Central Islip, we won 11 championships with 5 different climbers.
Right.
That's kind of unheard of in the sport, you know what I'm saying? It's like having 5 different quarterbacks leading you to the Super Bowl.
Right, it's usually one guy's
You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of 3-man ladders, some of the ground, here, let's show you a little bit of our Central Islip hobos as some clips from their season last year.
Ready, 1, 2, 3.
I'm almost certain we're going to see a lot more of that this season coming up. And I tell everybody, there's things you guys see. I'm busy. I'm doing stuff all over. There's 2 days for racing that I put aside. Lindenhurst and the Central Islip Invite. Put those days aside.
Opening day.
Because
it's opening day in the Midsummer Classic, as Robbo calls it.
Yeah, I just can't.
I don't want to toot my horn on that one, but
right.
I'm the one that got Robbo to call.
Well,
Robbo loved that.
It was perfect. It's a great line.
Marvin Classic, I think of horse racing. You gotta go. Gotta go to Timmy
the
right
Crystal
away.
Ship. You gotta go.
You gotta go to Timmy Crawford right away. Speaking of I want to talk about everything, and you guys helped introduce me to one of the guys that we lost not too long ago, and Bumpy. That was
Fox.
Fox. Yeah, a lot of people don't even know about it. Fox. Like I said, he was a track study. Like, no, he wasn't. I said, he was, because I spent a lot of time with him down in the basement of the firehouse, and I got to talk to him. But there were so many people that came through that helped me, gave me a little bit of knowledge. Yeah. Some, it was just snide comment, whatever. But for the most part, you guys had
what it was too is that, I don't mean to cut you off, is that, you had the good persona, you had a good personality, you know what I'm saying? And people could gravitate to you, like, you would gravitate to people. And, you get what you put into it, you know what I'm saying? And you always put stuff into it. When you were a golfer, you were very good. And people can always take that as, it was a very important position, Not everybody could do it. Not everybody
could handle that at that time.
You had it,
everybody's mindset. And you guys, we have our own little things behind you, whatever. That's just like you're fighting with your brother. You're fighting with your brother. There better nobody step in. And that's kind of because you guys took me under your wing. You guys looked out for me. You guys got in some altercations that I didn't even know about till years later.
Yeah.
Just because of things that are said. And it's a home. Still
we were tight. We were tight. We were tight. We would show up even. Kevin and I were speaking when we were trying to, when Truth here wanted us to come on, and so I was getting a hold of Kevin, and we were just going over what a tight group we were. Even times when we, were having difficulty early on in the 80s or whatever, we would go there on nights off where we weren't practicing. We'd play wiffle ball in the back. We'd watch the juniors. We'd go out afterwards.
We used to fire up the pit, hit in the back.
Between this guy and Robbo, no matter when, I'd see them running around the track.
I was out working, running around the track
all the time.
From Adams Avenue down to a one full lap around the track ended up being something like 1.5 miles. So I did, I had a system work out, but always around the track, always got there early and stuff like that.
Listen, you brought him up, and I just all right. You brought up Bumpy. We knew him in the fire department as Bumpy, but he kind of split. I mean, as to his family and his friends, he was known as the Fox. Because he actually resembled the Fox, and he was, throughout the years, he was one of my best friends, and we just I had so much fun with him, and the laughs we had, and sometimes we'd go to the mall just to people watch, and people would come up to him and like, hey, how you doing, Bumpy? How are you? And then who is that? I have no idea.
He's like the mayor.
He was.
Yeah, everybody.
Remember him playing basketball?
Oh yeah,
I do. He used to wear his derby hat. He used to wear the high ankle socks, right below the kneecaps. Yeah. And he'd be coming down and shoot. And he had a heck of an outside shot, but he was
had
funny.
A nice stroke.
He would sit there. He would shoot from the side, right? And all of a sudden, it would go in. He'd take 2 steps back as he'd sit on the bench. He'd go, "Okay, kid, you're in."
That's another thing that we did, talking about being tight, is even in the off season we played basketball. We had one night a week.
Yeah, well, actually, to be honest with you, sometimes it was 2. We had September.
Was you guys never called me for the second.
Oh, well, yeah, well, you out Friday night, doing the Truth thing. We're playing basketball over at O'Neill. We played on Friday night.
We made the rounds. We did Cordello. We did
Reed a lot. We did Reed a lot.
Reed was the big
all our schools or whatever in Central Islip.
And it was good because September we would kind of take it easy, heal up, and then October.
You know what had a lot to do with that was Bumpy.
Bumpy, he would get to school.
And his brother worked at the schools, and he said, okay, sign up through the fire department, and October till like May, we play basketball on Tuesday nights. And then Friday night, they said we used to rotate.
We had to sweat at some point, folks, in the off season. Yeah, really. Otherwise, it could have been really bad this springtime.
It was good. It was good because sometimes we had tournaments. We had like North Lindy come down, Bay Shore
Yes,
came down,
yeah.
the Yellow Hornets came down, and we come down
some
and
of
have
that
basketball
competitive,
tournaments. and stuff
spirit
like that.
going, but
it was all good, and
Yeah.
and that kept the camaraderie going and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even the hockey down at St. John of God, the guys used to play the
deck hockey.
Yeah, the stuff
You know how they let me play? You want to play goalie? That's how I got my introduction. I did it.
Well, look at all the stars now, Truth. All the stars are goalies. I mean,
I know, but
they're
no,
tremendous
man.
athletes. It wasn't like you were a target or anything.
Yeah, I was.
Well,
yeah, I was. You know what? I feel like that kid on the Duck. What was that movie? The Ducks. What was his name? Goldberg, when he taped him to the net. And
the Mighty
Ducks. And they're just shooting pucks at him like, yeah, that's kind of what I felt like. Yeah, that is what I felt like. But it was a good time with you guys.
It was fun.
And there were a lot more competitive. To win a tournament took a lot more back then than it does now.
Well, back then, I remember in my first state tournament that I ever saw personally myself was 1974, and there was 65 teams.
Yeah.
And I was at Lindenhurst.
That's the.
And when we raced in 86 and 85 and 86, we had 60 teams. 60. Okay. Now, last year's state, they had 29 teams.
And that's not saying anything to the teams that win
No.
it. It's just. It was
very hard.
It was a bigger mountain to climb.
It was good to get in the top five out of 65 teams or 60 teams. You got in the top five for each. We ran 8 events, so you get into the top five. You get in a point somewhere along the line. That was a plus. But now today you only have 35 teams or 30 teams, maybe less than that. There's only 3 upstate supposedly, from what you're hearing. So you don't know where it's going to and stuff like that, but it's harder and harder to get people out. I mean, it's harder to financial
the times are different.
Times
are different than we got to be honest. Than when say we raced or
absolutely,
it's more different. It's harder on families. You need to. I mean, my gosh, come on. We live. We all live on Long Island here. You know what it takes to maintain a home and pay your taxes and stuff like that.
So if something were to come, because like you said, the teams are dwindling down. More teams have only B trucks now than before. Do you think that Old Fashioned would step up? Do you think that these guys? I personally don't think that these guys would go that route.
I don't think so. This is my own opinion, my gut feeling, my own opinion. No one said a word to me. I think they would. If it got to the point, you just go back to B trucks and throw in dummy and motor hose replacement to replace the C trucks temporarily. That doesn't mean you can't say, we're never gonna have C trucks again. But if that means you can get maybe 10 extra teams out just because they have B trucks, they don't have to insure a C truck. You know what? Maybe you might have to consider, or at least think about it. And one of the things you have to really look at too is the price of gas these days. What these guys are paying now for this. The type of gas that they need, it's a lot of money. So we practice 3 nights a week. Now it's down to 2. Now sometimes it's down to 1. Well, this guy's got to work a 4 to 12 tonight. This guy's got to do this. This guy has that. This guy's teaching at night. So now it's okay. We can all meet on Wednesday nights. Where when we raced, it was Monday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Load on Friday.
Yeah, Tuesday night we came down, we watched film, we cleaned the shack up. What Tim was saying, we played wiffle ball in the back.
And I had practice because the juniors practice Tuesday
we used to watch the kids practice and stuff like that, or we'd help them out. You were down there 7 days a week, I'd say from June, because you had to start racing, you had tournaments, till Labor Day. We were racing, but before then, it was Monday through Friday, and then. The racing season came, and then all of a sudden, 7 days a week.
I still mark my calendar by Easter for different reasons, right? Okay. A lot of people, I'm like, I can't wait for Easter. People think I was looking forward to Easter. No. I was looking forward to racing. Yeah. We started practice the first Monday after Easter. Yeah. We didn't wait. We started right up.
We even, early, when I first started racing, that was 1979 to 80, we started April 1st no matter what.
Yeah.
It was April 1st. Even
First Monday in April.
We weren't getting off the trucks right away, but we were doing dummy digs. We were like running, doing things to get yourself ready, and then all of a sudden the following week,
sharpening his spike.
Yeah, I remember a time or two it's snowing. I think even 80.
Yeah, it was like, you know, you see a couple.
And your brother-in-law or whatever, Donnie Miller. Hey, Donnie. Addison marched one time or whatever, just doing sprints.
Yeah, doing sprints.
And we were pretty. You talk about fat, you know, and we were like, oh yeah, this is a great idea. But boy, we're pretty.
But you guys were fit.
I mean,
you guys are always fit. You know, like it wasn't like weight training like everyone does back in the day. Or I should say now that you know there's a weight regimen for everybody for everything.
Yeah.
But you guys just mentally on your own. We had Rich Rumplik going with Lou Melandra with the Bowflex.
Yeah.
You know, everyone was trying to do something on their own to stay fit and have an edge because it meant something. So, like a lot of people you might know, because I'll talk about the racing community shortly, but the hobos, when you win a state championship, they don't give out rings. You have the privilege of getting a hobo tattoo, which, by the way, I can get, 1993. Just want to put it out there. You can get a hobo tattoo on your arm. So these guys are not racing for rings. They're racing for the pride to have that patch, that tattoo on their shoulder, on their arm, wherever Jimmy's got it on his leg, wherever you guys want to put it. But that's what they're racing for. And it's something that, for these guys now, this is another generation. Like, I've watched, you know, he's not on the team anymore, but Ducky's son. I remember playing soccer with the kid when he started to walk, and now he was one of the top. Their ladder
climber,
was phenomenal. You know, you got Bobby Miller and you got Robbie Miller. You know, now you have Eric on the team. You know, you got Brian Kessler.
Well, that's another thing too about it. It's a lot of it. Sometimes it's hereditary, that it comes down from family of people. You know, their brothers or their fathers raced. I mean, you take a look. My father raced a very short time. He was president of the racing team from 1960 to 1964 to 1970 until he became chief. All right. Roy Dujay, he was a driver and stuff. His son raced. Roy Dujay Senior, his father raced back in the 40s. You know what I'm saying? The Murphys. You know, he's Mr. Murphy.
It's all a legacy.
Ran in the 50s. You see pictures of them in the 50s. Then you have Charlie. You have Stevie. Now you have Patrick. You have Christopher. You have Ryan. You had Danny. They all came out. The Millers. You know, you have Bobby. You have Robbie. You have Eric. You know, it's a lot of it. It's hereditary and stuff like that. My brother. You know, I raced. My brother Kenny raced for a while. Danny's been racing now for over. Going to be 40 years coming soon. You know, he's been driving now for over 20. I mean, it's just, if you have a background of family history and stuff like that, yeah, odds are pretty good you're going to be pretty successful down the line. If you take a look at the teams that have been successful over the years, even Nassau teams, they've always had some type of family or close friends that they just ended up, you know, going down the line and, you know.
Right, because although, you know, everyone is very competitive, it is a community of teams made up from all across New York State. So at any given time on the track, you'll see it, especially at the end of the tournament, where everybody comes to congratulate the guys who were able to make it down the track. And it's not just, let's have a beer. Yeah. It's genuine, sincere.
Yeah,
you know, because people have been racing against each other for forever. Like there's guys that are on the team now. I raced against Bayshore in the juniors.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like they have a little longevity. Now Artie's now doing the announcing.
Yeah.
You know, but it's that history goes back.
It changes. Goes back to it goes back to. It's like a cycle and stuff like that.
You know what you said about community made me think, and this goes with the hobos. And this isn't anything against any other team, but we're all prejudiced.
Yeah.
But biased. We have the greatest fans. And I've always had the greatest fans in the world.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Hobo Nation, for real.
You know,
they just the support is unbelievable for the hobos, and I mean, even the invite, it was almost like and I haven't been around, and I had a little bit of a medical issue recently, but I wanted to come back for the invite this year because I was feeling better at the time, and I tried to make my way. I'm like, I'm not even going to be able to get up in.
No.
Look at all these, and how many guys came back. Guys come make a trip from other states to come back in.
Well, that's when we know we're going to see each other.
You know? I mean, we have just tremendous support, and have had since I could ever remember.
The way the fans travel is absolutely
Crazy.
amazing.
It is.
I remember, you might be able to tell me what year it was, Thousand Islands, maybe around 92. No, it had to be 96 or around there.
95 was when they raced up at Clayton. They stayed at Alex Bay.
Yes, okay.
They came
That's
second
what
that
we
year.
had the whole goddamn place.
Yeah, that's in fact that we had that. It was the same place that you're talking about. The Hobos had it again in 2010.
Yeah,
the same hotel. And a little story about it. It's right on the St. Lawrence River.
First time I saw a black squirrel. I swear to God. That was the first time. I was like, what's good? Someone's playing a trick on me. You know?
Got the spray paint.
Oh my gosh.
But this place was run down. It wasn't really the best of shape, and my brother Danny said it best. It was a dump, but it was our dump.
It was our dump.
And what was great about it was that we were all by ourselves, and the one part of the hotel was on water, like it was a little bit, by the St. Lawrence River.
Yeah.
It was just funny that we made the best of it. It was our place. We barbecued that night before the tournament, and it was about 100 people just out there on the dock hanging out, just having a grill, and just CI people. And it was just fun because it was just us, nobody else.
Yeah.
And that was the best part about it because you had like you said, the backing is just phenomenal. I mean, when you go away upstate this past year, I think they had to have 40 some odd rooms.
Yeah,
they only have 20 some odd guys on the team. So the
Yeah.
rest of it is between, department members and other people, our alumni that want to go up and stuff like that and back the team up. So,
And,
it's
and
pretty wild.
that also comes from the Hobo Way.
Exactly, yeah,
You
exactly.
know, because these guys know no matter what happens, the other tournaments throughout the season, they know that when it comes to the States, there's a way that you guys are going to turn it up and make it work. If it doesn't work for 8 tournaments, you figure out how to make it work on that 9th tournament.
It's like true. It's almost like we have a home field advantage almost at any track we go to, really.
You really
The way
do.
they travel, the way the fans travel, it's amazing.
And what's also crazy is, for all the years, everybody knows we're not even sitting in this section. We know that's their
the
thing.
CI section.
We know that they don't even the whole stamp. It could be empty, but no, they're coming.
That's very true. It is and stuff. And like I said, it goes back for years. And like you said, Hobo Nation. It's been going for 70 years, 70 plus years now. And as long as the sport can survive, I think the hobos are going to be relevant and stuff like that because of just of the way the organization runs. It starts from the juniors to the big team, and that there's a rhyme and reason it works out.
Before I run out of time, it's one of my favorite sounds. Might blow a lot of people's eardrums, but I could stand next to this truck any day of the week and rev that engine. I just love the sound. I love the smell. Bobby, can we play that video? I can sit here. I'm totally honest, and I don't know if you pick up on this because you never see me really at the end of the tournament.
Yeah, no, you're over there for ladders.
If I don't get to the tournament before ladders, I don't go.
Yeah, no.
There's no point for me to go.
You know what's funny too? Sorry to interrupt you, but when you talking about the trucks and how loud they are, that's not the blower.
No.
We had a 440 blower that Ducky's put into our B truck, and we had this big, huge belt, and it attached to the blower, and it was about this thick, the belt,
Yeah.
right? And this thing was loud. In fact, the officials used to hate it coming up because they used to put their hands over the ears, you know? And they had to have
It had a little bit of a whistle.
yeah, and they had to hold their flags, you know.
Yeah.
So they're like this, trying to hold their flag, and
But yet the
stick
crowd,
their-
boy,
and because it was loud, it really was loud. But it was just that it got too expensive and stuff like that and everything. So they had to change the engines and stuff like that, which it's understandable. You know, today's modern world, you got to try to make it more efficient than what it
I
was
still
before.
say that man, Ducky Miller, is probably the most talented mechanic. He knows how. We used to have a guy working on the race cars called Johnny Go Fast. He knew how to get more speed. Ducky knows how to get more power. He knows how to get more speed.
knows
And it
how to
got
take
to
the weight
Run
off
out
of
of time. Let me tell you, he deserves more credit for the hobo success over the last how many years than he probably gets credit for, doesn't he?
No, he does. He learned it, from Acom and all back then and all. And he just followed through it, and he's done a great job. The trucks have always been the top.
Yeah.
Top speed, always speed.
Always.
Yeah.
You might say they put the speed limit in. I remember
Well, they did a couple of rules in the C truck because of what Ducky did. And nothing bad, but they said he's too fast.
It's too fast.
It's too fast. We have to, put not governors on, but we have to regulate the speed back a little bit. And of course, it pissed Ducky off beyond belief. But,
he's like, how do I get around my own rule?
Yeah, he's the mad scientist.
Yeah, he'll always look to push it though, which is
good.
Yeah, I used to see him New Year's Eve over at my brother's house. I used to see him. So I said, "What do you have planned for this year?" "Well, Jax, we're going to do this." And he had like a list of what he wants to do and stuff like that. I'm taking the weight off here. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. How you doing that? I said, "Oh, the shield? I'm cutting that out there so we have the shield covering it." We changed over the diamond plate. We're going to a lighter diamond plate. He was any way he can to make it lighter. He would, long as it stayed underneath
the weight.
Stayed the weight limit.
Yeah.
He was amazing.
Well, guys, I think we're almost. We're at 0. I absolutely loved talking with you.
I had a great time, man.
Timmy, thank you so much.
Thank you. Great time.
I love it so much. I want to do it again.
Okay.
Because see, listen, with you two, I can make anything happen. So I want Rob. Robbo's another one. If we get Henry here,
love Robbo, but
we could. I know what Robbo, Henry. I think I have to go. I have to. I have a better chance of growing hair back before that would happen.
So, I don't care if it's just us again, but we'll get some videos. We can get some videos
with more detail. I would
need more people than just Kevin.
Yeah. Well, it gets harder with too many. You switch back and forth.
I'm saying I mean, I'll take a seat in the back.
You guys are helping.
But it's we could try to expand it to get some some tapes and stuff like that and everything. As far as Charlie Murphy saying they have to run it by the commissioners, I don't. He's gotten kind of weird.
We know we're on TV, right?
Huh? Are we still on?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Cut that.
No, but
There's no cut.
They're very strict by the books, and
I
can understand it. But all you want is pictures. All you want pictures
of yourself. Pictures of yourself.
I got pictures of.
I have that exists.
I had to get pictures. I want to get pictures of myself running a motor pump because if one thing you did when running suction, you never really got pictures.
No, because it was on the other side of the truck.
Exactly. So they had people took pictures of the on top of the pump house of me doing CI and patchwork. They did it.
And I think you were the first one to come up with a bungee cord.
Yeah, to hold back because today's suction hose is like an accordion. It's so easy.
It's much lighter.
This thing was like on Viagra. This thing was stiff as a rock, man. You know what I'm saying?
I used to have to carry it. I know.
Yeah.
All right, that's our time for tonight, guys. I appreciate you. Tune in next week. The Truth with Andrew Washington and Frank Carrera. We got some exciting things coming up, and I'll tell you a little bit about my journey of my first television appearance coming this Wednesday night. I'll see you guys next week.